So I hear a lot of writers say that they don't have time for writing, they don't have time for reading, they don't have time for the things that really matter to them. And that brings me to the first recommendation, and that is to prioritize your writing. Like, a big breakthrough came to me when I realized that saying I don't have time to write, or I don't have time to read, I don't have time to insert anything, that was bullshit. That was actually me not prioritizing the things that I said mattered to me. And when I realized that, I had to hold myself accountable for the choices I made. And that can be hard. I know, I've been there. But now I make sure to actually prioritize the things that matter to me. Because you know, when I look back now and see how I behaved during that time when I said I didn't have time, you know, I could spend hours watching TV series on Netflix, or I could spend hours here on YouTube. I could dumb scroll social media. I don't know. It was a lot of things that I spent time on that I really didn't want to spend time on, instead of actually focusing on the things that I wanted to prioritize. You know, if you want to start prioritizing writing, the thing that you should do is that you should make a list. So make a list of your top, 3 to 5 priorities. These are things you want to do, not things you have to do. You know, if you will have to drive your kids to school, or you will have to go to work. Yeah, that can't really affect that. But things that you want to do. And, you know, set up a clear goal. And what do I mean by clear goal? Well, let's say your goal is, I want to finish writing my novel within a year. That is a very clear goal. And if you know what genre you write in, you know, maybe the book should be 75,000 words. How long, you know, how much do you have to write each and every day to finish the first draft within, say 6 months or 4 months? You can actually count that when you have a clear set goal. It would be a lot easier for you to prioritize, because if you start skipping writing continuously, you will fall behind really quickly. And another thing that you can do to set clear priorities is to actually take some time out. I usually do this on Sundays, and just to look back and reflect on my week. Did I achieve the things I wanted to achieve this week? Did I prioritize the right things? Or is there anything I want to stop doing, or I want to do more of? Like, when we prioritize what we want in the long run, I know this is hard, so don't get me wrong, I know this is really hard for us, because our brains are wired to seek fast kicks and instant gratification. Writing a book will not give us any instant gratification. It's a really long process, usually takes years. And that is why it can be hard to actually, carve out the time for it. But for me, when I realized that I wasn't prioritizing it, that I actually had time, I started to wake up earlier, half an hour earlier each day, because that was the time during the day that I knew that my brain would work the best. And this meant that, like, in the evenings, I actually fell asleep and got to bed a lot earlier. So that was really nice. And I cut back on watching TV series and doing those things that didn't matter to me. And I think that you can do too. But you need to start behaving like the future version of yourself, the one version of yourself that you want to be. Atomic Habits talks about this mindset shift, that you have to go from thinking, I want to be a writer, I want to be a published author, to I am a writer, I am an author, therefore I write. Because that's what a writer do, or an author. They write continuously. Maybe not every day, but somehow, like, regularly in some kind of way. And you can do that too. So tip 1 is to prioritize your writing. Recommendation number 2 is to use your calendar. And I know that a lot of people, they're like, what? No, but calendars, that's for my work, that's for office time. Well, it doesn't have to be. It actually shouldn't be. It should be for your leisure time as well. I started using my calendar, and actually I've synced my work and my private calendar, so I see so stuff don't overlap. But I use it for everything. I have scheduled in my writing time, my workouts, dates with my partner, leisure time, what time I plan to go to bed and read each and every night. I have, yes, and so maybe I'm a little bit extreme. But the thing with using a calendar in a smart way is that it actually frees up mind space for us, and it's a lot easier. So if something comes up and let's say I can't write the time I was planning to write, instead of just not writing that day, I will just move that slot of time to a different time and make sure that it still gets done, because that's how we do things at work. So why shouldn't we do it with the things that we prioritize probably even more than work? Have a little think about that one, but for sure use your calendar. Because another thing is, like, if you decided to meet up friends in 2 weeks to go out for dinner, and you try to remember that, and instead of writing it down and putting it in a calendar where you will get a notification, if you try to remember that, that will be heavy on your short-term memory, which means that you will have a harder time to concentrate and stuff like that. So just put it in the calendar and forget it. I think it's in Getting Things Done, they talk a lot about this. Really great book, by the way, if you want to learn more about to-do lists and stuff. Back to the topic. So speaking of Getting Things Done by David Allen, my third recommendation is what he calls the 2-minute rule. And the 2-minute rule is so simple and so smart. 2-minute rule means that if the task takes less than 2 minutes to do it now. Whatever it is, do it now. So whenever, like, I don't know, maybe you realize you forgot to send an email, you forgot to some phone call or whatever, if it takes less than 2 minutes, just do it now. Don't write it down, because you will have a never-ending to-do list. This has actually saved me a lot of time and a lot of mind space, so do it. Recommendation number 4 is for you to learn how to focus or to get into writer's flow. Because I don't know if you knew this, but it actually takes quite a lot of time to get into a deep sort of flow state or deep work state. It takes somewhere between 25 and 60 minutes. So it's really, really important that you try and avoid distractions when you try to get into this deep focus mode. Carl Newport's book, Deep Work, really, really helped me understanding how to get into this sort of state. So in his book, he actually recommends that you take somewhere around 2 hours. You just block that time out in your calendar for deep work. And deep work is usually, it's very hard for the brain to do it. So it is somewhat challenging, but it's not too hard. And it's also something that we can do. It's like this, it's basically almost like when you get into flow, but since it is hard for us to get into this mode where we actually usually get a lot of things done really quickly because we're able to focus so well, it's so important that you make sure you have no distractions. So when I do this, I actually do this both for my professional life, at my day job. I block out chunks of time where I go into deep focus and really do those hard work tasks that I have. And I do this for my private life as well, usually for writing, because when I get into this deep sort of flow state, oh my god, I can write so much, so fast, and time just flies. And whoa, thousands of words is amazing. And if you want to become better at focusing and getting into these states, remember that it takes a lot of practice. You can practice yourself to become better at focusing, to become better at going into flow. So practice, and make sure that no one will disturb you. And when it comes to, I just have to say this, when it comes to our day jobs and stuff like that, some people do feel intimidated by the fact that, oh my god, I can't block 2 hours to focus, and turn off my phone and turn off all notifications and, go MIA. But the thing is, yeah, of course you can. Probably nothing will happen. You can leave your phone on so someone can call you, sure, but turn off everything else. Because during that time, you will probably get more done than you will get in a week when you have notifications and email and stuff on. And Newport also talks a lot about these busy work things that we do and meetings that we have that leads nowhere and stuff like that. So that is why if you can carve out time for yourself to do these demanding tasks at your job, you will probably come home after your workday not feeling as stressed, feeling a lot more relaxed and happy, and you know what? If you have more energy and more focus when you come home from work, you will probably feel like writing or reading or doing something so that you're able to prioritize something for yourself. At least that's how I do it. I try to deep work out, do stuff to make sure that my mind is clear and good when I want to focus on writing, because that is a demanding task for my head too. And recommendation number 5 is to learn how to say no. I know that this is really, really hard. I've struggled with it a lot myself too. Saying no to friends, saying no to co-workers, acquaintances. It is hard because, you feel bad that you don't want to, help someone clean out their garage or whatever. I don't know. But the thing is, we're here for a limited amount of time, and if that person is someone, if it's a person that really, really matters to you and that would do the same for you, sure, go ahead, go and help them out, of course. But if you don't feel like it's someone who will give you back the effort that you put in, say no. Try to look at your priorities. Is this within the one, or is this on your top 5 list? If not, it is okay to say, no, I don't have time. I need to write. I have a deadline. Yeah, maybe you put up the deadline for yourself, but your dreams are not less important than someone else's whatever. You have to learn how to prioritize yourself and say yes to the things that make you happy, that make you shine. And say no, let go of the things that doesn't matter. Try practicing saying no to, when someone asks if you want milk in the coffee, say no. No, I don't know. That was a really bad example. But you can also imagine, if there was no emotion involved, if you didn't care if the other person got disappointed or not, what would you answer? And if the answer is no, then say no. Another thing that you can do to save up time and to make life more manageable, and because the goal is also, not to get burned out, is to say no to meetings with no agendas. So if a meeting doesn't have an agenda, it doesn't say what we're going to discuss or how to prepare for the meeting, I usually say no to the meeting, and I will of course answer why. Because a lot of meetings are pre-meetings before the meeting where we're going to make a decision. We could have solved this using email. I want to spend my time mindfully. I want to spend my time doing the things that I love and prioritize. And that is why I think that productivity and time management is super interesting. I will leave a bunch of links in the description with great books on the topic. And that's all for today. I hope that this helps you realize how you can save time in your day-to-day life so that you can write more. Because this is what we want to do. This is why we're all here, isn't it? Thank you so much for watching. It's been a blessing having you here, and I hope to talk to you soon. Mwah.